I can take care of your garden in exchange for food, poor boy says to rich businessman. Harrison Sterling adjusted his tie as he hurried toward the mansion gate. Another morning full of important meetings awaited him, and the last thing he expected was to find someone standing at the entrance of his property in the upscale neighborhood of Lincoln Park, Chicago. That's when his eyes landed on a boy who couldn't have been more than 12, wearing a worn-out cap and a shirt that had seen better days. The kid held a small hoe in his hands and watched him with a mix of nervousness and determination. "Excuse me, sir," said the boy, stepping forward. "I can take care of your garden in exchange for food." Harrison stopped immediately. He looked at the boy, then at the garden that had been neglected for months, with plants growing wildly and flowers wilting from lack of care. Ever since Mrs. Dorothy had retired, he hadn't found anyone trustworthy to tend the place. "Do you actually know how to take care of plants?" asked Harrison, eyeing the boy's small hands marked by calluses. "Yes, sir, I do. My grandma taught me everything. I know how to prune, water, plant, whatever you need," the boy replied, lifting his chin with pride. Harrison hesitated. He had an important meeting in 20 minutes, but something about that determined kid made him reconsider. The garden really needed attention, and hiring a company would cost a fortune. "What's your name?" he asked. "Tyler, sir." "Tyler Bennett." "And where do you live, Tyler?" The boy looked away for a moment before answering. "Nearby, sir, in Wicker Park." Harrison noticed the hesitation but decided not to push. He looked again at the neglected garden and made an impulsive decision. "All right, you can start today. I'll talk to my housekeeper about the food." Tyler's eyes lit up. "Thank you so much, sir. You won't regret it, I promise." Harrison nodded and got into the car, already thinking about work matters. But throughout the drive to the office, he couldn't shake the image of that determined boy from his mind. When he got home in the late afternoon, he was surprised to see Tyler was still there. The kid had worked all day, and you could already see some improvements in the main flower bed. The weeds had been removed, and the plants pruned carefully. "Mrs. Evelyn," called Harrison, addressing the housekeeper who had worked in the house for over 15 years. "What did you think of the boy?" Evelyn, a woman with grey hair and a motherly demeanor, sighed before answering. "He's a hard worker, that's true. He arrived early and didn't stop even to rest. But there's something strange, Mr. Sterling." "What is it?" "He wrapped half the food in napkins. When I asked if he wasn't hungry, he said he'd eat later. But I saw him put it all in his backpack." Harrison grew thoughtful. There was more to that story, but he decided not to investigate right away. Maybe the kid had his reasons. In the following days, Tyler arrived before 6 in the morning and worked until late afternoon. Harrison began to watch him discreetly from his office window during breaks between virtual meetings. The boy talked to the plants as he watered them, as if they were old friends. "The roses need special care," Tyler murmured, gently adjusting the branches. "My grandma always said they can tell when you truly love them." A week later, Evelyn approached Harrison again. "Mr. Sterling, I found out what's going on. I followed the boy discreetly when he left yesterday. He takes the food to a little girl waiting at the bus stop. Must be his sister." Harrison felt something tighten in his chest. Without Tyler noticing, he started asking Evelyn to prepare larger, more nutritious portions. "Tell them it was left over from the kitchen," he instructed the housekeeper. "Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, feel free to leave a like and especially subscribe to the channel. It helps us a lot who are just starting out." Now, continuing. It was on a Thursday morning that Harrison noticed Tyler limping visibly. The boy tried to hide it, but it was impossible not to see he was having trouble moving. "Tyler, what happened to your leg?" asked Harrison, stepping down from the porch stairs. "It's nothing, sir. I just tripped last night," the boy replied, avoiding eye contact. "Let me see that," said Harrison, noticing that Tyler's pants were torn and stained with what looked like dried blood. "Don't worry, sir. I can work just fine." But Harrison had already made a decision. "Lily, call Dr. Shepard. Tell him it's urgent." "Mr. Sterling, there's no need," Tyler protested, clearly uncomfortable. "I can't afford a doctor." "Who said anything about paying?" Harrison replied firmly. "You got hurt and I want to make sure you're okay." When the doctor arrived, Tyler still tried to resist, but Harrison was unwavering. During the examination, Dr. Shepard made a disturbing discovery. "Harrison, I need to speak with you privately," the doctor said after seeing the boy. They stepped away into the study. "What did you find?" asked Harrison. "Besides the leg injury, which thankfully isn't serious, I found signs of severe malnutrition. This boy hasn't been eating properly for a long time. The marks are old, not recent." Harrison felt his blood boil. How had he not noticed before? "And that's not all," the doctor continued. "From what we talked about, he takes care of a younger sister. The situation seems more complicated than you think." That afternoon, Harrison confronted Tyler gently. "Tyler, where do you and your sister really live?" The boy hesitated, looking at his feet. "At some acquaintances of my grandma's, sir." "And your parents?" They had to travel for work," Tyler lied. But Harrison noticed the hesitation in his voice. He decided not to push further at that moment, but began investigating discreetly. He asked Lily to prepare full meals for Tyler to take, and when the boy protested that he would only accept what had been agreed upon, Harrison found a creative solution. "You've been working really well, Tyler. That deserves a bonus. Besides the regular food, you can take this extra lunchbox as recognition for a job well done." Tyler was moved, but insisted on working even harder to earn what he was receiving. 2 weeks later, an elegant woman appeared at the mansion's gate. It was Mrs. Victoria, a neighbor known for her snobbish attitude and prejudiced opinions. "Harrison, I need to talk to you about this situation," she said, gesturing toward the garden where Tyler was working. "What situation, Victoria?" "That street kid you hired. He's giving the neighborhood a bad impression. The other families are talking. This isn't the place for that kind of people." Harrison felt anger rising but controlled himself. "Victoria, Tyler is a hard-working and honest boy. He's taking care of my garden better than any professional I've ever hired." "But Harrison, you need to think about safety, the neighborhood's image." "This conversation is over, Victoria," Harrison said firmly. "Tyler stays." The woman left indignant, but Harrison didn't care. What bothered him was that Tyler had heard part of the conversation and now worked in absolute silence, as if he wanted to become invisible. That afternoon, Harrison found Tyler crying silently among the rose bushes. "What happened, Tyler?" The boy quickly tried to wipe away his tears. "It's nothing, sir." "Tyler, we've talked about this. You can trust me." The boy hesitated before speaking. "It's Lily, sir. My sister. She's sick and she's not getting better. She needs medicine, but I don't have any money." "What kind of medicine?" "For fever and cough. She's been like this for several days." Harrison felt his heart tighten. "Tyler, give me the address where you're staying. I'll send a doctor to see your sister." "No, sir. I can't accept that. You're already helping me too much." "It's not a favor, Tyler. It's an obligation. If you're working for me and your family needs help, then it's my responsibility too." The next day, Harrison discreetly sent Dr. Shepard to the address Tyler had given. What the doctor found left him deeply disturbed. "Harrison, the situation is worse than we thought," Dr. Shepard reported over the phone. "The children are living in a makeshift shelter in an abandoned area. There are no minimum living conditions. The girl really was sick, but she's medicated now and improving." "What do you mean, makeshift shelter?" "An unfinished construction. They set up a little corner with cardboard and some blankets. Tyler lied about living with his grandmother's acquaintances so he wouldn't lose the job." Harrison spent a sleepless night thinking about the situation. The next day, he confronted Tyler again. "Tyler, we need to have a serious talk." The boy tensed up. "I know you're not living with your grandmother's acquaintances. The doctor I sent told me the truth." Tyler hung his head, defeated. "Are you going to fire me?" "On the contrary, I want to truly help you. But for that, I need to know the whole truth. Where are your parents?" Tyler took a deep breath before answering. "They left when Lily got sick, sir. They said they couldn't take care of a sick child. We stayed with Grandma, but she passed away last year." "And you've been alone since then?" "Yes, sir. I take care of Lily. She's only 6. Harrison felt a mix of anger at the irresponsible parents and admiration for the boy's courage. "Tyler, you and Lily are going to come live here with me." "Sir, temporarily until we work out a better situation for you. I have empty rooms and Evelyn can help take care of Lily while you study." "Study?" "Yes. You're going back to school. That's non-negotiable." Tyler started to cry, but this time they were tears of relief. "I don't know how to thank you, sir. Keep taking care of the garden like you have been. That's the best thanks you can give me." That afternoon, Harrison personally went to pick up Lily from the makeshift shelter. The girl was small and frail, with the same determined eyes as her brother. When she saw Tyler waiting in the mansion's garden, she ran into his arms. "Tyler, did you get us a real house?" "Yes, I did, Lily. And now you'll have food every day and a warm room to sleep in." Evelyn immediately fell in love with the little girl and started treating her like a granddaughter. She prepared a warm bath, clean clothes, and a nutritious meal. Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, feel free to hit like and especially subscribe to the channel. It really helps us beginners. Now, continuing. In the following days, the house gained a completely new energy. Lily played in the garden while Tyler worked, and her laughter echoed through the mornings. Harrison started coming home earlier from work to spend time with the children. "Mr. Sterling," Lily said one afternoon, tugging at the hem of his jacket, "Tyler told me you're very kind. Thank you for taking care of us." Harrison knelt down to her level. "Lily, you're the ones taking care of me. This house was so empty and sad before you came." A week later, Tyler started attending a private school near the mansion. Harrison had handled all the paperwork and enrollment. The boy was excited, but also nervous. "What if the other kids don't like me?" Tyler asked on the morning of the first day. "You're smart, polite, and hardworking. Anyone who doesn't like you for being different doesn't deserve your friendship," replied Harrison. Things seemed to finally be falling into place when Lily made a discovery that would change everything. "Mr. Sterling, I need to show you something," she said, entering the office with a worried expression. "What is it, Lily?" "I was organizing Tyler's things when I found this in his backpack," she said, holding out an old, yellowed photo. Harrison took the photo and felt his blood run cold. The image showed an elderly woman smiling in the mansion's garden next to a rose bush he knew very well. It was the rose bush Mrs. Dorothy had planted 20 years ago. "Lily, where did Tyler say he got this photo?" "He said he found it buried near the rose bushes while cleaning the garden. He kept it because he thought it was pretty and wanted to return it if it was important to someone." Harrison looked at the photo more closely. The woman had familiar features, very familiar. "Lily, do you remember the gardener who worked here before Mrs. Dorothy?" "Of course, Mrs. Martha. She worked here for nearly 10 years. Why?" Harrison felt the world spin. Martha Bennett. The same last name as Tyler. "Lily, are you sure her last name was Bennett?" "I am. Mrs. Martha Bennett. A very hard-working and caring woman. Such a shame she left the way she did." "What way?" asked Harrison, though he already dreaded the answer. "Don't you remember? She was accused of stealing that bracelet from your mother. Your mother was furious and fired her on the spot." Harrison closed his eyes. The memory hit him like a punch to the gut. His mother had accused Martha of stealing an expensive bracelet that was later found somewhere else. But when they tried to locate Martha to apologize, she had moved, and no one knew where. "Lily, how many years ago was that?" "About 12 years, Mr. Sterling." Tyler must be about 12, too. The math was cruel but clear. Martha was likely Tyler and Lily's grandmother. The grandmother who had raised them after their parents abandoned them. The grandmother who had been unfairly fired from the mansion where her grandson now worked. Harrison spent the rest of the day troubled. How could he tell Tyler that he was responsible for his grandmother's unfair dismissal? How could he explain that the family had suffered because of a misunderstanding he could have resolved? That night, he couldn't sleep. He got up and went to the garden where he found Tyler watering the plants under the moonlight. "Tyler, what are you doing here at this hour?" "I couldn't sleep, sir. Sometimes I like to talk to the plants when it's really quiet. My grandma used to say they listen better at night. Your grandmother knew a lot about gardens, didn't she? She did. She worked her whole life taking care of plants. She said she once had a job at a very beautiful house with the prettiest garden she'd ever seen. But she had to leave because of a misunderstanding. Harrison felt his heart race. Did she tell you what happened? She said the lady of the house lost a piece of jewelry and thought she'd taken it. But Grandma never took anything from anyone. She was very honest. She was really sad because she loved that garden and the people there. And did she hold a grudge? Tyler stopped watering and looked at Harrison. No, sir. Grandma didn't know how to hold a grudge against anyone. She said life was already hard enough to carry weight in your heart. She just missed the garden, that's all. Harrison felt tears burn in his eyes. Tyler, I need to tell you something very important. Shall we sit down? They sat on the bench near Mrs. Dorothy's rosebush. Harrison took a deep breath before starting. This photo you found, the woman in the photo is your grandmother, isn't she? Tyler looked surprised. How do you know, sir? Because she worked here, Tyler. Mrs. Martha was our gardener for many years. Tyler was silent for a long moment, processing the information. So Grandma worked here, in this house? Yes. And Tyler, I need to ask for your forgiveness. Your grandmother was fired unjustly. My mother accused her of stealing a bracelet that we later found somewhere else. We tried to find her to apologize, but she had moved away. Tyler remained quiet, staring at the photo in his hands. Tyler, say something. I knew, the boy murmured. Knew what? When I found the photo, when I started working here, something told me I knew this place. Grandma always described a garden just like this one. And when Lily saw the rose bushes, she said they were just like the ones Grandma described. And you're not mad at me? Tyler looked at Harrison with teary eyes. Sir, Grandma always said everything in life has a purpose. If she hadn't left here, maybe I never would have come knocking on your gate. And if I hadn't come, Lily and I would still be starving in that horrible place. Tyler, besides, you're taking care of us now. You're giving me school, food, a home. Grandma would be happy knowing we came back to the garden she loved so much. Harrison couldn't hold back his tears. You're a very special boy, Tyler. Your grandmother raised you well. You want to know something? Said Tyler, getting up and walking toward the rosebush. Grandma always said if she ever came back to this garden, she'd plant a new rosebush right here next to this one. She said it would be to thank for the happy times she had here. Harrison stood up too. Then let's plant it together, to honor Mrs. Martha's memory. The next day, Harrison and Tyler went to the nursery to buy a special rose bush. They chose a rare variety with soft pink flowers, symbolizing gratitude and new beginnings. Lily helped with the planting, digging small holes with a toy shovel that Evelyn had bought for her. When they finished, the three of them stood admiring the result. Now Grandma is here with us, said Lily, gently touching the petals of the new rose bush. Evelyn prepared a special lunch to celebrate, and for the first time in many years, the mansion's table was filled with laughter and lively conversation. But the peace would be interrupted a few days later when a social worker appeared at the mansion's door. Good afternoon. I'm Miss Sarah Jenkins from Child Protective Services. We received an anonymous report about 2 children allegedly in an irregular situation at this residence. Harrison felt his blood run cold. What kind of report? Allegations that the children are being exploited for child labor and that the legal guardian has no authorization to keep them here. Tyler, who was playing in the garden with Lily, ran to the door when he noticed the seriousness of the conversation. What's going on? He asked, clearly frightened. Tyler, Lily, come here, said the social worker with a forced smile. We need to talk to you. No, shouted Lily, hiding behind her brother. I don't want to leave here. Calm down, Lily. No one is leaving anywhere, said Harrison, but the uncertainty in his voice was evident. The social worker conducted an interview with the children, observing the house and taking several notes. Tyler answered all the questions honestly, explaining how he had ended up there and how Harrison had taken them in. Mr. Sterling, she said when the interview was over, You understand that you cannot simply take responsibility for 2 children without going through the proper legal procedures, right? I understand, and I was already arranging the necessary paperwork. Even so, I need to take the children to a temporary shelter while the situation is being regularized. It's protocol. No, shouted Tyler. Please, ma'am, let us stay. Mr. Harrison takes good care of us. I promise I'll study and work the right way. Tyler, it's not about behavior, it's a legal matter. Lily started crying, clinging to Harrison's leg. Dad, Harrison, don't let them take us. Harrison's heart broke hearing Lily call him Dad for the first time. Miss Sarah, give me 48 hours. I'll sort out all the necessary paperwork. Please don't separate these children now that they're safe and happy. The social worker hesitated, watching the children's tears and the obvious mutual affection. 48 hours, Mr. Sterling. No more than that. As soon as she left, Harrison picked up the phone and called his lawyer. Julian, I need your help urgently. I want to become the legal guardian of 2 children, and I need this resolved in less than 2 days. Over the next 48 hours, Harrison moved heaven and earth. He hired family law specialists, gathered all the required documents, arranged medical exams, prepared psychological reports, and even got recommendation letters from neighbors and Tyler's school. Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, feel free to hit like and above all subscribe to the channel. It really helps us beginners. Now, continuing. Tyler and Lily spent 2 days in extreme nervousness. Tyler barely ate, and Lily wouldn't leave Evelyn's side, as if afraid someone might take her at any moment. Evelyn, Lily said on the morning of the 3rd day, if they take us away, will you forget us? Evelyn knelt down and hugged the girl. Sweetheart, no one is taking you away, and even if they did, I would never forget you. You're part of our family now. When Miss Sarah returned, she found a stack of organized documents waiting for her. Harrison had managed not only the legal paperwork, but also favorable reports from psychologists, doctors, and even the principal of Tyler's school. Mr. Sterling, I must admit I'm impressed, she said, flipping through the papers. In 20 years of work, I've rarely seen anyone mobilize so much in such a short time. These children are my family now, ma'am. I would do anything for them. I can see that. Based on the documents presented and the children's obvious well-being, I'm approving temporary custody. The final process might take a few months, but you can stay together. Tyler and Lily burst into shouts of joy. Lily jumped into Harrison's lap, and Tyler, trying to keep his composure, discreetly wiped a tear of relief. Thank you, Miss Sarah, thank you so much, said Harrison. Don't thank me yet. There will be periodic follow-up visits, but from what I see, you'll do just fine. After she left, the makeshift family gathered in the garden to celebrate. Evelyn had made a special cake, and they had a picnic among the rose bushes. Tyler, said Harrison, now that everything is settled, I want to make a proposal. What proposal, sir? Stop calling me sir. You can call me Uncle Harrison, or just Harrison. We're family now. And can I still take care of the garden? Of course you can, but now as a son of the house, not as an employee. The difference matters. Tyler smiled, but Harrison noticed a concern in his eyes. What's bothering you, Tyler? It's just, I like working. I like feeling like I'm contributing to the family. And you are contributing. But now your main responsibility is to study and be a kid. The garden can be your hobby, your passion, but not your obligation. Lily, who had been quiet until then, tugged on Harrison's arm. Uncle Harrison, now that we're truly family, can I tell you a secret? Of course, Lily. Tyler dreams of being an agronomist when he grows up. He wants to study plants to help other people have beautiful gardens like this one. Harrison looked at Tyler, who turned red with shame. Is it true, Tyler? It is. But I know it's hard. Engineering is for rich and smart people. Tyler, you're one of the smartest people I know, and now you have everything you need to study whatever you want. If you want to be an agricultural engineer, we'll work together to make it happen. The following months were a time of adjustment and discoveries. Tyler excelled at school, especially in science and math. Lily grew quickly, gaining weight and height, and her cheerful personality blossomed. Harrison discovered that being a parent wasn't something you learned from books. There were nights when Lily had nightmares about the time they spent on the streets. There were days when Tyler closed himself off, feeling guilty for not being able to protect his sister on his own. "Tyler," Harrison said on one of those occasions, "you saved your sister. A 12-year-old boy who manages to keep a 6-year-old child alive and healthy for months on the street is a hero. Never forget that. But if I were smarter, I would have found a solution sooner. If you were older, maybe. But you were a child trying to take care of another child, and you did an amazing job. Evelyn became more than a housekeeper. She was truly the grandmother the children never had. She taught Lily to cook simple recipes and listen to Tyler talk about his dreams for the future." "Grandma Evelyn," Tyler said one afternoon, "do you think my grandma would be proud of me?" "Honey, your grandma is proud of you every day. Wherever she is, she knows you've become a wonderful boy." Life went on in harmony until 6 months after the guardianship was legalized, Harrison received a call that would change everything again. "Mr. Sterling, this is the Wicker Park Police Precinct. We have 2 individuals here who claim to be the parents of the children under your guardianship. They want the children back." Harrison felt the world collapse. "What do you mean? Where have they been all this time?" "Sir, I can't give details over the phone, but they have documents proving paternity and are demanding the return of the children. They abandoned Tyler and Lily over a year ago. Sir, could you come down here so we can talk in person?" Harrison hung up the phone with trembling hands. How would he tell the children? How would he explain that the parents who abandoned them wanted to take them back? He decided to go to the precinct first, to better understand the situation before alarming Tyler and Lily. At the precinct, he found a couple he hadn't seen in over a year. The man, thin and with a scruffy appearance, gestured nervously as he spoke to the officer. The woman, visibly uncomfortable, avoided Harrison's gaze. "So, you're the rich guy who took our kids," said the man as soon as he saw Harrison. "I'm Harrison Sterling, legal guardian of Tyler and Lily." "Legal guardian, nothing. I'm their father and I want my kids back." "Where were you when the children were starving on the streets?" Harrison asked, trying to control his anger. "We had to take care of some things, but now we're ready to take care of them." The officer intervened. "Mr. Sterling, legally, if the biological parents want the children back and can prove they have the means to care for them, the guardianship could be reversed." "And do you have the means?" Harrison asked, addressing the couple. "Of course we do," the man replied. "I got a job, we have a place to live. We're the parents. We have more rights than any stranger." Harrison observed the woman, who still hadn't spoken. "And you, ma'am, do you also want the children back?" She hesitated before answering. Yes, of course. They're my children." But Harrison sensed something was wrong. The answer didn't seem sincere. "Officer, I need time to get my lawyer and prepare my defense. These children were abandoned for over a year. They can't just show up now and take them as if nothing ever happened. You have 72 hours to present your legal defense. After that, if there are no legal barriers, the children must be returned to their biological parents." Harrison left the police station devastated. How would he tell Tyler and Lily that they might have to go back to the parents who abandoned them? At home, Tyler immediately noticed something was wrong. "Uncle Harrison, are you okay? Did something happen at work?" Harrison sat on the couch and called the 2 children. "Tyler, Lily, I need to tell you something very serious." Lily curled up in his lap, and Tyler sat beside him, tense. "Your parents showed up. They want you back." The silence that followed was deafening. Lily started to tremble, and Tyler went pale. "No," Tyler whispered. "They can't do this. Tyler, I'm going to fight to keep you with me. I'll do everything in my power." "But if they're our parents, they can take us, can't they?" Tyler asked with a painful maturity. "Legally, yes. But there are laws that protect children when the parents aren't fit." Lily started to cry. "I don't want to go back, Uncle Harrison. They left and abandoned us. They don't love us." "Lily, I know, and I'll prove that in court." Tyler stood up abruptly. "Uncle Harrison, can I talk to you alone?" Harrison asked Grandma Evelyn to look after Lily and took Tyler to the garden. "What is it, Tyler?" "I know things about my parents that could help. Things they did when they lived with us." "What kind of things?" Tyler hesitated, clearly struggling with himself. My dad. He drank a lot. And when he drank, he got angry. Not just with me, but with Lily too. My mom tried to protect us, but she was scared of him too. Tyler, this is very important. Would you tell that to a judge? If it's to protect Lily, yes. I'd do anything to protect my sister. Harrison hugged the boy. You shouldn't have to go through this. A child shouldn't have to testify against their own parents. But I'm not just a child anymore, Uncle Harrison. Since my parents left, I've had to grow up fast to take care of Lily. Over the next 72 hours, Harrison and his lawyer worked tirelessly. They managed to gather evidence of abandonment, medical reports of the children when they were found, school statements about Tyler's progress, and even tracked down some neighbors who had witnessed the parents' neglect. The day of the hearing arrived like an unavoidable storm. Tyler dressed in his best clothes and promised Lily he'd come back home. Don't worry, Lily. I'll tell the judge how happy we are here. I'll tell him you have nightmares when you think about going back. In the courtroom, Harrison watched the children's biological parents. The father seemed nervous and was sweating excessively. The mother kept her head down, avoiding looking at Tyler when he entered. Tyler Bennett, the judge called. You may step forward. Tyler walked with steady steps to the front of the room. Tyler, do you understand why we're here today? Yes, sir. My parents want my sister and me to go back to them. And what would you like to happen? Tyler took a deep breath before answering. Your Honor, I would like to stay with Uncle Harrison. He takes good care of us. He enrolled me in school. Lily is happy and healthy. We're a family now. But Tyler, these are your biological parents. They love you. With all due respect, Your Honor, people who love you don't abandon their children when they need them most. The father stood up abruptly. We didn't abandon them. We just needed to sort some things out. What things? The judge asked. The man hesitated, clearly unprepared for the question. Work. Problems. Tyler turned to face his father. Dad, can you tell me where you were when Lily had a high fever and I didn't have money for medicine? Where were you when we slept in the cold because we had nowhere to stay? Tyler, you don't understand. I understand perfectly. You and Mom decided you didn't want to take care of 2 kids anymore. And now that you know Uncle Harrison has money, you want us back. The silence in the room was tense. The judge turned to the children's mother. Mrs. Bennett, do you have anything to say? The woman looked up for the first time, and everyone could see the tears in her eyes. Speak, ma'am. I don't want to take the children from Mr. Sterling, she said finally. They're well cared for, happy. Tyler is studying. Lily is healthy. I only came because my husband forced me. What do you mean, forced you? He said that if the kids are with a rich person, we can get money from them, that we can demand child support or something like that. The father tried to silence his wife, but it was too late. Your Honor, she continued, I love my children, but I know I can't take care of them. When my husband drinks, he gets violent. The kids have already been through so much suffering. Shut up, woman, the man shouted. No, she shouted back. I've kept my mouth shut long enough. Your Honor, please leave my children with Mr. Sterling. They deserve to be happy. Tyler was crying, but they were tears of relief. The judge banged his gavel. Based on the testimony presented and the clear attempt at financial exploitation by the biological father, I rule that custody remains with Mr. Harrison Sterling. Additionally, I forbid any contact from the biological parents with the children until they prove they have resolved their personal issues and undergone psychological counseling. Harrison hugged Tyler, who broke down in tearful relief. It's over, Tyler. You're safe with me forever. When they got home, Lily ran into Tyler's arms. Well, can we stay? We can, Lily. Forever. Evelyn threw together an impromptu party to celebrate. Neighbors who had followed the situation showed up to congratulate the family. Even Mrs. Victoria, the snobbish neighbor who used to complain about Tyler's presence, arrived with a bouquet of flowers. Harrison, I must admit I was wrong about the boy. He's truly special. Thank you, Victoria. We all deserve a second chance to form our opinions. That night, while the children slept, Harrison stood in the garden watching the rose bushes. The one they had planted in honor of Mrs. Martha was blooming beautifully. "Mrs. Martha," he murmured to the flowers, "thank you for raising such special grandchildren. I'll take good care of them. I promise." A gentle breeze stirred the petals, almost as if it were a reply. 2 years passed. Tyler, now 14, was one of the top students in his class and was already planning a career in agronomy. He had turned part of the garden into a mini vegetable patch where he experimented with different cultivation techniques. Lily, 8 years old, was a radiant, lively girl. She studied ballet and had just discovered her passion for painting. Her drawings of the garden decorated the whole house. Harrison had completely changed. The workaholic businessman had turned into a present and caring father. He cut back on his work hours to spend more time with the kids and found that life now had much more meaning. Evelyn, at 62, had officially become the children's grandmother. They called her Grandma Evelyn, and she melted with pride every time she heard it. "Uncle Harrison," Tyler said one Saturday morning, "can I ask you something?" "Sure, Tyler." "Have you ever regretted taking us in? I mean, your life was simpler before." Harrison stopped reading the newspaper and looked seriously at the boy. "Tyler, let me tell you something. Before you all came, I had a big house, money, professional success, but I didn't have a family. I didn't have laughter echoing through the morning. I didn't have anyone to greet me with a hug. I didn't have a reason to come home early from work. And now? Now I have all of that. You didn't complicate my life, Tyler. You gave it meaning." Lily came running over with a drawing in her hand. "Uncle Harrison, look what I painted." It was a drawing of the family, Harrison, Tyler, Lily, and Evelyn, all together in the garden, surrounded by colorful flowers. "It's beautiful, Lily. Let's frame it and hang it in the living room." "Really? Really? It's the most beautiful piece of art I've ever seen." That afternoon, while Tyler worked in the vegetable garden and Lily played with her dolls on the porch, Harrison received an unexpected call. "Mr. Sterling, this is Ms. Sarah from Child Protective Services. Do you remember me?" "Of course, Ms. Sarah. How are you?" "Fine, thank you. I'm calling because I'd like to make a social visit. It's nothing official, just to see how the children are doing. We'd be happy to have you." When Ms. Sarah arrived the following week, she was impressed by the transformation she saw. Tyler had grown and was visibly more confident and mature. Lily was a completely different child from the scared little girl she had met. "Mr. Sterling, in 25 years of my career, I've rarely seen such an impressive transformation. These children are clearly loved and well cared for. They are the best thing in my life, Mum." "Tyler," she said, addressing the boy, "how do you feel living here?" "Miss Sarah, I feel like I've been born again. Before I only worried about surviving. Now I can dream. I can plan for the future. I can be a kid once in a while." "And you, Lily?" "I love my family," the girl replied without hesitation. "Uncle Harrison is the best dad in the world. Grandma Evelyn makes the tastiest desserts, and Tyler is the best brother there is." Ms. Sarah smiled. "Mr. Sterling, officially my visit is over, but I can say that this is one of the most harmonious families I've ever met." After she left, Tyler sought out Harrison. "Uncle Harrison, can I do something?" "What is it, Tyler?" "I want to change my last name. I want to be called Tyler Sterling, like you." Harrison's eyes welled up. "Tyler, that would be an honor for me. But are you sure? Bennett is your grandmother's last name." "I thought about that. How about Tyler Bennett Sterling? That way I keep Grandma's memory and officially take on being your son. And Lily? She wants it too. Lily Bennett Sterling." Harrison hugged the boy. "Then let's make it happen. You'll officially be Sterlings." A few months later, the day of the official adoption ceremony arrived. Harrison had decided to adopt the children permanently, becoming their legal father. In the courthouse room, present were Harrison, Tyler, Lily, Evelyn, the lawyer, and a few close friends. "Mr. Harrison Sterling," said the judge, "do you accept Tyler Bennett Sterling and Lily Bennett Sterling as your legitimate children, assuming all parental responsibilities and rights?" "I accept with all my heart." "Tyler Bennett Sterling, do you accept Harrison Sterling as your legal father?" "Yes, sir, I do." Lily Bennett Sterling, do you accept Harrison Sterling as your legal father? I do, yelled Lily, making everyone laugh. Then, by way of this ceremony, I declare you officially a legal family. Congratulations, Evelyn cried with emotion, and even the lawyer was visibly moved. That night, they threw a party in the garden. Harrison hired a small musical group, Evelyn prepared the buffet, and they invited all the neighbors and friends. Speech, speech, the guests shouted. Harrison stood up, holding a glass of soda. 3 years ago, a brave boy knocked on my gate offering to work for food. At that moment, I thought I was doing him a favor. Today I know that the one who received the greatest favor was me. Everyone applauded. Tyler and Lily taught me that family isn't just blood, it's love, it's care, it's being there in the hard times and sharing the joys. They transformed me into a better person. Tyler stood up too. Can I say something? Of course, son. Dad, said Tyler, using that word for the first time. When I knocked on this gate 3 years ago, I just wanted food. I never imagined I'd find a family. Thank you for believing in me and for giving me the chance to be someone's son again. There wasn't a dry eye at the party. Lily ran into the middle of the circle. I want to say something too. Dad Harrison, thank you for making my nightmares stop and my dreams begin. I love you so much. The party went on until late, with music, dancing, and lots of affection. When everyone had left and the kids were asleep, Harrison and Evelyn sat in the garden to talk. Evelyn, thank you for going on this adventure with me. Mr. Sterling, these children gave meaning to my life too. I was feeling old and useless after my own kids grew up and moved away. Tyler and Lily gave me the chance to be a real grandma. Do you think Mrs. Martha would be proud? I'm sure of it. Wherever she is, she's watching the grandkids happy and fulfilled, and she knows you're doing what she can't do anymore, taking care of them. They were silent for a moment, watching the rose bushes sway in the night breeze. Evelyn, can I tell you a secret? Of course, Mr. Sterling. At first I felt guilty. I thought I was trying to buy the kids forgiveness for the injustice I did to their grandmother. And now? Now I know it's not about guilt or forgiveness. It's about love. I love these kids as if they were my own biological children, and they love me back. That's what matters, Mr. Sterling. True love builds bridges over any past. 5 years had passed since that morning when Tyler knocked on the mansion's gate. Now at 17, he was preparing for the agronomy entrance exam at Northwestern University. His high school final project had been about sustainable urban gardening techniques, inspired by the garden at home. Lily, at 11, had developed multiple talents. Besides painting, she now also played piano and wrote short stories. Her dream was to be a writer and illustrate her own books. Harrison, at 52, had found the perfect balance between work and family. His company thrived, but he never let work become more important than time with the kids again. Evelyn, now 67, stayed active and cheerful. She had become a kind of neighborhood matriarch, always ready to help other families with her wise advice. Dad, said Tyler one Sunday morning, can I show you something? They walked to the garden, where Tyler had built a small greenhouse. What's that, Tyler? Remember when I said I wanted to help other people have beautiful gardens? I'm developing a project to teach underprivileged kids how to grow their own food. What do you mean? I want to create a program where kids from poor communities learn gardening and can grow vegetables for their families. It would be a way to fight hunger and teach responsibility at the same time. Harrison felt proud and emotional. Tyler, that's a brilliant idea. How can I help? Actually, I was thinking we could use part of the mansion's land to create a community garden, and maybe you could help with the initial resources. Tyler, I not only can, but I really want to do this. Let's turn this into a family project. Lily came running up. What are you two talking about? Tyler had an amazing idea to help other kids, Harrison explained. Can I help too? Can I teach the kids to draw the plants they grow? Of course you can, Lily. We'll do it together. And so the Garden of Hope project was born. In partnership with local schools, they began hosting groups of underprivileged kids to learn gardening. environmental education, and art. Tyler became a natural teacher, guiding them with the patience and care he had learned from Mrs. Martha. Lily developed art workshops where the children drew and painted their plants. Harrison provided the resources and infrastructure, but the most important thing was seeing how the project was impacting the kids' lives. "Look, Dad," Tyler said one Saturday afternoon, pointing to a group of children happily working in the garden. "That boy over there, Caleb, showed up 2 months ago not talking to anyone. Now he's the one who asks the most questions and gets the most excited. And Grace," Lily added, "started off shy, and now she draws the most beautiful plants I've ever seen." Evelyn watched it all from the porch, smiling proudly. "Mr. Sterling," she said, "look how interesting life is. Tyler came here looking for food, and now he's become someone who feeds other kids. It's true, Evelyn. Life has these wonderful twists." At the end of the project's first year, they organized a closing celebration. The kids brought their families to see the garden and show off everything they had learned. One of the parents approached Harrison. "Mr. Sterling, I don't know how to thank you. My son came home a different boy. Now he wants to study. He takes care of a garden in the backyard, and he even improved his grades at school." "The credit goes to Tyler and Lily," Harrison replied. "They developed the entire method. But without you, none of this would have been possible." During the party, a reporter from the local paper showed up to cover the project. "Mr. Sterling, how did the idea for the Garden of Hope come about?" "Actually, the idea came from my son, Tyler. He went through hardships as a child, and now he wants to help other kids." "Tyler," the reporter said, turning to him, "what motivated you to create this project?" Tyler thought for a moment before answering. I know what it's like to be hungry, what it's like to have no hope for the future. But I also know how rewarding it is to see something you planted grow and bear fruit. I want other kids to feel that same joy and discover they can build their own future." "And how do you evaluate the results?" "The results go far beyond what we expected," Lily replied. "The kids don't just learn about plants, they develop self-esteem, responsibility, and hope." The article came out the following week and brought a lot of recognition to the project. Other families became interested in joining, and even some companies offered support. "Dad," Tyler said, reading the article, "I think our project is growing bigger than we planned." "That's great, Tyler. It means you've touched something important. But what if it gets too big? What if we can't keep up the quality?" Harrison smiled. Even at 17, Tyler still showed the sense of responsibility that had defined him since he was little. "Tyler, if the project grows beyond our capacity, we'll look for partners who share the same values. The important thing is not to lose the essence of what you've created." End of story. And now tell us, what did you think of this story of overcoming and love? Do you believe that small gestures can completely transform lives? Leave your opinion in the comments and share if you've ever witnessed a similar situation. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss other emotional stories like this one.